If you try to control manifestations, watch this video. This is going to show you a completely new way of going about the process that is much more powerful. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be showing you a process more powerful than needing to control the outcome of what you want to manifest in your life. And I know that even for myself especially, as I have got certain momentum in my life, I've attributed a certain amount of that to being able to control my behavior, control my own discipline, and many times that will get carried away to a point to where there's almost all these rules and all this rigidity, and the thing is then we hold ourselves back from the magic of life, from the magic of what could be happening in our life if we let go to these rules and these beliefs, because our beliefs create our reality. And if we believe that we must do absolutely everything to create what we want in our lives, then that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. But imagine that believing that we have to control everything is like taking luggage and putting it on our back and saying, I have to control what happens to this and how this person acts over here and all of these things. And we end up feeling very weighed down until a place to where we feel constricted and we feel a lot of resistance. Now, maybe you identify a little bit as somebody that likes to control your outcomes of what you manifest, or even just control people in general. I know that even me, I'm considered what you would call a fixer, and I like to help fix. I mean, it's not that I necessarily enjoy it, but I have this desire a lot, I realize, with interacting with other people, whether it's family members or even friends, and if they're going through something, my initial reaction is to try to help fix them, to almost take on what they're dealing with and to help them through it, whether that's they're financially needing help, or whether they're needing help to on advice or how to do something. It's almost like I'll try to do the work for them. But what I've realized is, in a way, that's a way that I'm dealing with trying to control the outcome. Control is also synonymous with certainty. So many times what will happen is we will be rewarded at some point in our past for having a certain level of control over something. And what will then happen is we will become certain on that thing, and we will enjoy that certainty, enjoy knowing what will happen next, enjoy knowing that our ego has some type of say in the process. And what many times happens is that's when we start to develop resistance. And if things go off a little bit according to that plan, then normally what will happen is we'll assume something's off course and we'll start to feel resistance. So what this video is going to do is show you a process that's much more powerful, in a way that I've applied this in my own life, because I've realized that I have a certain level of control when it comes to my willpower, a certain level of control with how I think that things should happen when I have goals and intentions and a vision. But I realize that I forget this one idea. And the purpose of this is knowing, and the point of this video is knowing that we must have a vision for what we want to create in our life, a vision. And whatever that is, I've always, you need something that you're moving toward. Something that you can then have like almost a barometer, like a GPS system. You have to know where you're going and you have to know where you are. If you don't have those two coordinates, then you'll find yourself kind of going all over the place. However, you need a vision. You need to know what you're moving towards. But the thing is once you know what you're moving towards, and then you make the choice that's who you are. It's a lot of what I teach. What I teach is showing that all probabilities exist right now. What quantum physics shows us is that every probability exists right now. And it's simply a different rate of vibration. So if you want to experience the version of you that's living your best life, whatever that means to you, that's real passionate about what you do, then imagine that version of you, and what you do is you mirror that version of you, which you can use in your imagination. You mirror their thoughts, their emotions, and their actions, and then you eventually get their results. There's a delayed mirror response in reality, but if you keep consistent to it and you realize that that's who you are now, meditation's what I found to be one of the most powerful ways of wiring that in, then that will eventually become your reality. However, when we remain in control as to how everything happens, remember the vision you have is the what and the why. The what and the why. Like within the what of that vision should be your why, the purpose of what you do. Now the purpose of that though is knowing that your what and your why, the how, is not important if you are being that version of you. The what and the how is what you will move towards. The what and the why is what you will move towards, but the how is something that you develop as you go. And you allow the universe to then show you things along the process. When I let go of trying to control everything, let me tell you what, I let go of so much resistance. I was carrying around so much resistance. I remember it was shortly after, about a year after making daily videos on YouTube, and I started to, really get a certain amount of momentum, and I realized that I was attributing a certain amount of that success with the control over my actions, over my behavior. And I then started to believe that I had to stay consistent to that or everything would just fall apart. So I had to control so many different parts of my day, and I realized that was keeping me from having fun. That was keeping me from enjoying myself. And the way that I actually became aware of this is I went to this transformational breath workshop. If you've ever done transformational breath work, it's very powerful. And basically what you do is you breathe, you lay on the ground, and there's a certain formula, a certain format for you. You breathe in a certain way. So it's like you breathe like, you breathe into your diaphragm. You actually breathe through your mouth, which is kind of counterintuitive to me because I always thought it was better to breathe through your nose. You breathe, and then you breathe. It's like a full breath through your diaphragm and then through your chest. So you take in this really big, deep breath. And what you do is at the exhale, you just let it go. You don't go, you just let it go. You go, and then as you do that more and more, you'll do that for 45 minutes to an hour. Now what happens is there's breathwork practitioners that were walking around the room. When I did it, I was in Costa Rica, and I'm actually getting ready to do it in a couple weeks as well. And what happens is you do it at a certain pace, and then you breathe in, you bring in so much oxygen into your body that what happens is over 45 minutes of doing it, you start to get so much elevated levels of oxygen in your body, and what it does is it purges out and brings out past conditioning. It brings out past emotions, and you will feel literally my body, when the first time I did this, my body became completely numb. What happened is this is actually very common that this happens. My hands went into a praying mantis position. I'm laying on the ground, and my hands went like this, and they got really, really rock hard and solid. And what happened is I was then remembering, and then my body became kind of numb. And this wasn't an unpleasant, it was I felt that rigidity in my hands and in certain parts of my body, but it wasn't painful at all. But I remember I was breathing in and out, breathing in and out. And then what happened is as I was going like this, I was then feeling the sensation of let go, let go, let go. And I realized in that moment that this came from so much in the past of me having to control my own life because of my own ego. And for example, you may know my story. I went through a lot of pain in my past of having an abusive ex-stepmom in my life between the ages of 7 to 15 years old. And what I realized is that in those moments, I had to become someone when I went through the pain of 7 to 15 years old. And I had to even, in a way, control my breathing. I'll get to that in a second. But that is what caused, and then let go. Let go was letting go of that pain, letting go of needing to be in flight or fight mode. And as I let go, I began to relax more and more. And after that experience, it was profound. I had no idea to expect that, but the message was to let go. Now, after that, I talked to one of the breathwork practitioners because she came over. One of them came over and was adjusting my breathing, adjusting and telling me to release tension in certain parts of my body. And I asked her, she goes, you can actually tell someone's personality by looking at their breathing pattern, which makes sense. The idea behind breath work is that there's a certain way we breathe, and that a certain time in our past we shifted our breathing, and when we shifted our breathing, we then shifted our emotions. Our emotions come according to how we breathe, our breath. And for example, confident people tend to breathe very deeply. People that feel anxiety tend to breathe very shallow. They might go, and then feel a lot of that. I had to take a deep breath after that. So they may feel a lot of that anxiety, which comes from the breathing. If you learn how to modify your breathing, many times you can then change your life. Now, what she said is that you can tell someone's personality traits by their breath. And I said, really? I said, okay, so then what is my personality trait from the way you saw me breathe, since you just saw me breathe for 45 minutes? She goes, you're what we call an overachiever. You're an achiever. You're somebody that has like this armor around like a warrior that has this armor around your chest. And she's like, you probably take deep breaths in, like, and this is something I do. When I breathe sometimes I go, it's like I tighten up my back, like I take in more air. And she said that it has to do with being an overachiever. And she's like, you're probably an overachiever in life. And I'm like, actually I am. I'm somebody that goes above and beyond. And when I started making daily videos on YouTube, I didn't just do once a week, I did every single day. And I have to stay consistent to that pattern. And she says that that's a control factor. That's a control mechanism that you have. At a certain point in your past, you thought that you had to do more to be loved. You had to do more to be loved. And what I realized is that that was the case. I felt, such a lack of love in my life between 7 and 15 years old. And I decided in a moment, I actually also developed a personality trait of being what's called a people pleaser. For years, I was a people pleaser. I was trying everything I could to make other people happy. Whether that was someone I was in a relationship with, whether that was someone else in my family, or whether it was a boss or somebody. I was always trying to, if I could just make someone else happy, then I could finally be validated. But I realized that came from a shadow aspect of myself. That came from the pain of my past and not really integrating and learning that I don't have to control every part of my breath. I don't have to control every manifestation of my life. And when you realize that control is actually holding you back from the natural flow of life, that's when you can actually make the switch. Now here is the thing as well. Let me tell you something as well. I had this belief that I had to control many different areas of my life. The control was also making me more of a serious person. I was making daily videos. I had this extraordinarily willpower, but I wasn't enjoying my life as much. I was so focused on hustling and making videos and helping people, which is a very, I considered it a very good intention. I want to help people. But what I realized is I wasn't filling up my own cup and enjoying life. And I bring this back to, I remember I had that 9-to-5 job selling women's shoes, which I had for many years. The days I went in trying to control kind of control what customers did, kind of trying to control my goals, are the days I felt a lot of resistance. The days I went in and focused more on my state of being, were the days that where magic would happen. Where I would just have fun with other customers. I'd just focus on adding value and having fun. I'd have the what of the vision in the background, but I wasn't focused on the how. I wasn't trying to control everything. And from having that shift in perspective, I would go in and not only would I have the best days, but I would enjoy and love the process. It was so much more of a natural flow. Now in the same way, when I make these videos, if I'm trying to control every aspect of it, if I'm kind of trying to control how people perceive of it, all these things, you feel all these rules, all these rigidity. But when I make videos that have the vision, have an intention of adding value to people, but also let go of the rules and just have fun, those are the videos that tend to do very well. So you see, this is a process of understanding that your ego will try everything it can to control different manifestations. But think about this. It's not your ego job to do everything. Your ego's job is not to do everything. You use your ego in physical reality. Now the thing is we're eternal spiritual beings. We come into this reality, we forget who we are. Then what we do is we have certain experiences growing up of our ego, with our ego, because we identify through this human vehicle that we call the ego. What happens is at certain points in our past, we get rewarded for having a certain level of control over our life situations. Maybe we start to control our own willpower. Maybe we realize that we have the ability to influence other people, so we start to control them. Now the thing is we get rewarded for that. But then we have this meaning, we have this idea that if I can control everything in my life, then I can be happy. I like that certainty. If I have certainty over things, then that's really good. But the thing is that is a limitation, because then we forget about our divine nature. Now, remember when I was talking about when I learned to let go, when I went to Costa Rica and I did that transformational breath work and I learned to let go? This is what happened after that. I let go of believing that I had to make videos every single day, that I had to do all of these things to be successful. And I started to just simply enjoy my own life more. I started to do what I wanted to do. I started to create my own rules for life. And by own rules, I meant let go of a lot of the rules that I had. When I did that, and I also had rules, by the way, about my own self-image. I saw myself as like, I can't make videos on certain things on YouTube. I remember I was afraid to make videos on star seeds, on some of the more esoteric content that I create. And you know what I said? I said, you know what, I'm gonna let go of that self-image. I'm gonna let go of trying to control what people think about me. I'm gonna let go of all of that. I started to make videos esoteric videos, videos on star seeds, videos on some concepts I was afraid. I've been wanting to put out for years, but I've been afraid to put out because what will people think? People think of me as the law of attraction YouTuber. If I make videos outside that box, then, oh, who knows what'll happen. This is what happened. I started to do that because I wanted to do that. And guess what happened? Everything exponentialized. That's what took my channel, I think, from like 350,000 subscribers to like 600,000. It's from that energy. It's from that looseness. It's from relaxing. It's from realizing I can let go of the need to control. I can let go of trying to control how things happen. I can let go of trying to control how people think of me. And once I let go of that control, I was in a higher vibrational state. I was enjoying life more, and I was receiving a reality that's equal to that raise in vibration. You see, that's what changed everything. The rigidity will keep us in resistance. But when you learn to let go, and you learn this as well, think of it like this. You have a higher mind and your ego mind. Some people do need to develop a little bit of a willpower. Maybe they're in a level below, not below the ego, but they're in a level where maybe they have a lack of boundaries, or they don't even have a vision for what they want to create in their life, and they just kind of find they're in stagnant energy. Maybe part of that would be good to develop a level of focus and a level of understanding your own boundaries towards moving towards your passion or whatever it is. That could be a positive thing depending on where you at. But if you clicked on this video, then most likely you're at a level to where you may associate somewhat pleasure with trying to control things. But I'm here to tell you that that may be the governor in your life. That may be keeping you back from going as fast as you can or as high vibrational as you can. And what I encourage you to do is to learn how to let go. Let go of control. Realize that you have an ego self and a higher self. Now, imagine it like this. Your ego self is in the valley, your higher self is on the mountain. Your higher self guides you in the form of emotion and passion as to which direction to go in. Now what happens is the ego sometimes thinks, I need to control everything. I know that this is the best way to go. This is the best route. This is the best route. This is the best route. But your ego's in the valley. It can't see what's ahead. And your higher self may be telling you, hey, go in this direction. You may say, no, that doesn't make sense to go in that direction. But it says, no, go in this direction because then there's a river, but over that river is a bridge that saves you a lot of time, or that's way more fun, a way more beautiful route. And if you were to let go of control and trust that guidance, you would find amazing things begin to happen in your life. Control is many times holding you back from manifesting really what you want. And the key to this process is aligning with the divine. You are a divine being, and when you meditate and you bring more of that divine energy in, because it's who you naturally are, and you start to trust your life, then your life will begin to change in a very powerful way. You know, the definition of control has to do with supervising the behavior, the strategy and behavior of different things. So control is the supervising and determining the course of behavior and the course of outcome. If you're trying to control everything, then you're doing it most likely from the level of the ego. If you let go, you'll find that magical things begin to happen. That's what's happened in my own life. The more I let go of trying to control my breathing, try to control my thoughts. If I could just control my thoughts, then I would feel better. The more I let go and I simply observe, and then I decide the what and the why, the what and the why, the vision and the purpose behind that vision, and I simply decide that's who I am now. That's when things begin to change in my life in a very powerful way. So the more you raise your vibration, the more you'll find that your life begins to change in a powerful way. And if you haven't seen it yet, I have a vibration calibrator. What you do is it's a minute survey. It takes about a minute to fill out, and you can calibrate your own vibration to see where your vibration is in the form of an archetype. What I'll do is send you 2 premium meditations that will help you to get to the next level of consciousness. Plus, I'll send you emails moving forward on how to get to the next level of consciousness. So if you want to calibrate your vibration, you can go to whatsmyvibration.com, and you'll see in the top of the description box below. That will help you in this process. And the main thing I want to say is just let go of believing you have to do everything. You are much more powerful than you imagine, but the part of you I'm speaking to is not just the ego, it's also the higher being within you. And when you start to tap into that divineness, when you start to trust the process, I promise you everything will happen in a much more magical way. So if you like this video, could you do me a favor? Smash that like button. Let me know what you think. Go and comment below if you're ready to let go of control and let go needing to have everything be a certain way, and declare that you're ready to trust the universe. Declare it, because declaring is one way that you begin to create momentum in your life. And other than that, as always, see you in the next video. Peace, much love, and namaste.